get forgotten. And so I ended up writing this book in the hopes that it would be reclaimed. And I've been very, very gratified to see that is beginning to happen.
Well, I really appreciate you talking about this because the book came out about 10 years ago. And as we were saying before the podcast, that it's very hard to remember things from long ago. And I sympathize because everything I do, it feels like my brain is being uploaded into the cloud. And I have absolutely no memory of something I did 6 months ago. But you've done quite a bit since then, of course. So what have you been working on recently and any other things we can look forward to?
Thank you. My next book is called Every Living Thing. And it is going to be a story of the nature wars of the 1700s. And the bottom line about that is some people are aware of the Swedish scientist Carl Linnaeus, who is the person who came up with our naming scheme for all of the species. He's the person who came up with Homo sapiens and that sort of thing. When we talk about species having a Latin name, it's Linnaeus that we're referring to. And he came up with concepts such as primate and mammal, that sort of thing. Also the controversial idea that humans are part of the animal kingdom. But what people don't realize is that at the same time, there was a competing natural historian, a Frenchman named the Count de Buffon, who was coming up with his own schema for understanding the entire world. And it was arranged upon very different lines and reflects a different philosophy of how humanity should understand and parse and relate to the natural world. And these two people clashed completely. They had two different factions of scientists, and they basically fought for 45 years. And that's the series of the nature wars. And there were literally people that were the acolytes of different ones of these, one or the other of them, who went out into the world to gather specimens and became, were sold into slavery, went insane in the Amazonian rainforest, and all these kinds of experiences. And so basically it's like, imagine the right stuff of the 1700s. So once again, a challenging book, that requires just a small amount of research. And I'm hoping that will see the light of day in another year or so.
Well, we'll definitely have to have you back on when that's out. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Scott. Hey, this has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Really appreciate it. All right, well, that was the episode for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. First of all, I'd like to thank the Knowlton's Rangers, and especially our spy masters, Baron Fraser, Carl from Norway, Chris from Maine, Moondoggy from Ohio, and Rick Knowlton, and I'll explain what that means in a second. If you want to support the show and help me keep producing this content, there are 4 easy ways for you to do it. 1, subscribe to the show and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you want to do that, you can go to historyunpluggedpodcast.com and there you'll find instructions. 2, join our Facebook group, which you can find if you just search for History Unplugged. And please like and share posts that I put up about new episodes. 3, submit a question to me so that I can answer it on air. You can email me at info@historyonthenet.com or leave a voicemail. And again, go to historyunpluggedpodcast.com and you'll find instructions. Lastly, and I think this one is the best, is to become one of the Knowlton's Rangers. The Knowlton's Rangers were an elite reconnaissance and espionage detachment of the Continental Army in the Revolutionary War, but it's also the name of the History Unplugged membership program. Learn how to join by going to patreon.com/unplugged. So here's what you get if you become one of the Knowlton's Rangers. If you join at the level of Scout, you can get early access to new podcast episodes, along with enjoying absolutely every single episode of the History Unplugged podcast ad-free. All 270 and counting episodes. If you join at the level of Intelligence Officer, you can also get access to premium episodes, like a multi-part series on the life of Audie Murphy, the most decorated combat soldier in World War II, or the 10-part series Ottoman Lives, a series that looks at the cast of characters that made up the Ottoman Empire, such as the Sultan, the eunuch, the harem servant girl, and the soldier. And finally, if you join at the level of Spy Master, you get all the same stuff as the scouts and intelligence officers, but you also get a shout-out to you and or your business at the end of each episode, a 3-pack of hardcover history books, plus you'll be put at the very front of the line for me to answer your question about history, and I can guarantee I will dedicate an episode that's about an hour long or so to your question. Sign up at patreon.com/unplugged. Again, that's patreon.com/unplugged. Anyway, those are the ways you can help out the show. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for listening to the History Unplugged podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to get your daily dose of all things history related, from ancient Greece to the Cold War. We'll see you next time at the History Unplugged podcast.